So the not so good news. The not so good news. The not so good news is breaking. CDC confirms first severe case of H5N1 bird flu in the United States, and it was in Louisiana. We had the report right in here. And it's from a patient in Louisiana has been hospitalized with severe infection of avian influenza, marking the first serious human case in the United States. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, announced Wednesday. How is it possible? I don't understand how the timing of this works. How all this timing works that Speaker Johnson was talking about, you know what, we need to include this kind of, provision in this 1,500-page budget bill, in which one of the most important parts is for disease X in case something happens. And then this pops up, like how many days? How many days to, I think 33 days to inauguration. I really trust the CDC. We don't know. What can we do? Do we trust the CDC or we disregard this? I don't know. I remember in my video, in my Anthony Fauci video, one of the best videos I've done in this channel, go check it out. I remember that all that stuff and trying to play God with some diseases is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. And I'm sure that this is part of that. I'm pretty sure that this is part of that. The case brings the total number of avian influenza infections in the United States during the current 2024 outbreak to 61. It's not that much. It's not that much, but it's better that it's not that high. It doesn't become higher. According to the CDC, the patient was exposed to sick and dead birds in backyard flocks. However, no additional details, including the individual's prognosis, have been disclosed. I don't remember how is bird flu. How is spread if they come in contact with an infected animal's body fluid like spit, milk, respiratory droplets, or poop, feces. You can breathe it from small dust particles in animal habitats. Or you can, it's basically airborne. You can breathe in, but the thing is that you get it from birds, but it is my understanding, can it be spread from human to human? That is the important part. Can a human get that from another human? My guess is not. The case was confirmed last Friday, according to the CDC. Genetic sequencing revealed that the H5N1 virus in the patient belonged to the D1.1 genotype. This genotype was recently being detected in wild birds and poultry in the United States and in human cases reported in Washington State and Canada's British Columbia province. The first from the B313 genotype, which has been identified in dairy cows, some poultry outbreaks, and human cases with mild symptoms such as conjunctivitis. Can bird flu, let me look for perplexity, make sure it's can bird flu be spread from human to human? The typing, ASMR typing. Affects birds and rare cases and can infect humans. While human-to-human transmission of bird flu is possible, it is extremely rare and has not led to sustained spread among people. Oh, thank God. A handful of use cases have had no known animal source of infection, but health authorities say there is still not enough evidence to suggest human-to-human transmission. Well, yes, the gain of function. I remember that in that video I spoke that some scientists were, really happy that they could create this virus that was usually only, I think it was swine flu, and it couldn't spread to humans, but they, I don't remember, there was this experiment that they did in which they created something that did not exist in nature and something that you don't want it to appear in nature. You don't want it to happen in nature. And if it happens in nature, well, tough luck. We all go final destination and we try to do the best of what we can in the event that happens. But it's so absurd to provoke this kind of stuff. I smell Chinese sabotage of our farms. If these people want to make it seem that they don't know about the drones, how can we be sure that they're not trying to do something with the poultry as well, with the birds? This case underscores that in addition to affected commercial poultry and dairy operations, wild birds and backyard flocks also can be a source of exposure, the CDC said. So maybe they're going to tell you, okay, so don't go to parks, don't go anywhere near nature. Let's bring some more anxiety to the table and make sure that everybody stays inside their homes safe and away from those pesky birds, and so that way you will not get anything. Yeah, the gain of function thing. Despite this development, the CDC continues to estimate the risk to the general public is low. A multi-state outbreak of the flu, technically the highly pathogenic avian influenza or H5N1 bird flu, was first reported in March in dairy cows. The rising frequency and diversity of mammalian infections in recent years have heightened concerns about the virus adaptability and its potential for cross-species transmission. That would be zoonosis. That would be zoonosis, being able to transmit between species, which is not an easy feat. Especially even if viruses, depending on the kind of virus, they can mutate quite quickly. Didn't you? How many of you played Plague? Have you played? I have played. I don't only like violent video games. I also like strategy video games, and one of my favorite one is Plague. Did you play Plague at some point? I remember that I became virus and parasite and bacteria curious, and playing that game and all the possibilities and all the ways that something could spread. And afterwards, years after we had COVID, and from a scientific perspective, it's fascinating how this can happen so quickly. But at the same time, is that we have this kind of order. We have this, Plague Incorporated. Yeah, that is the full name of the game. It's still on the app stores. Great game, by the way. It's like you have this balance in nature in which I don't think that we could reach this stage of the world in both humans and animals. Maybe it's not the harmony that so many people want. The harmony will never be attained because, well, this is we either eat them or they eat us. It's that simple. That has been like that from the beginning of civilization, the beginning of humankind. Maybe you are a vegan. I respect that. I have no problem whatsoever. But yeah, the thing with animals is that these viruses and these parasites and these bacteria, it depends on how they mutate, the mutations. And the gain of function is a forced mutation of especially viruses, because viruses are the easiest to provoke this kind of stuff. Are the, let's say, the easiest agents of disease in terms of mutation. So they are the easiest to experiment on. It is my limited understanding of the topic. So, but I don't think that we should be experimenting on that at all. If something happens in nature, then, well, let's deal with that. But let's not be playing and fooling around with this. It's great, of course, when we can eradicate diseases and just make them disappear. And but even so, I think that there's so many things that we could focus on our energy. I would love to know what should we focus our energy instead of making super viruses.